China's skyrocketing appetite for commodities is creating some global economic and environmental concerns. VOA's Nico Colombant has that story.
Chinese government and company officials are signing agreements at a dizzying pace around the world, including places where few other foreigners invest. China's Zhonghui Mining Group this year signed a copper mining deal in Zambia valued at $3.6 billion. And Chinese firms are signing other deals in Africa and other parts of the world for access to oil and other commodities to fuel China's growing economy. J. Peter Pham is an Africa expert with the Atlantic Council in Washington. He thinks Chinese officials have been astute during their commodities buying spree.
Much of the money is actually tied up in credits or soft loans for infrastructure or for other products which are linked to Chinese firms. So the amount of cash that governments receive often is much lower than the billion-dollar figures that are thrown about.
When Chinese companies use infrastructure projects as a payment, for example, like here in Sudan, they often use equipment, materials, and workers from China. Writer David Shin warns that many deals lack transparency.
One doesn't always know what they're being paid, nor does one know how clean all of the deals are.
Environmental advocacy groups are also concerned. In many parts of Southeast Asia, including here in Indonesia, the environmental group Greenpeace says China's purchases of palm oil, timber, and paper contribute to deforestation. Greenpeace activist Busta Maitar is trying to make sure Chinese companies do not break laws aimed at protecting the forest.
What I'm seeing now is they much more really careful with their operation here in Indonesia to, what you call it, trying to stop being exposed by the NGO, for example.
Workers for Chinese companies are also wary. In Liberia, where China has overtaken the United States as the leading business partner, many workers complain of mistreatment and low pay from Chinese bosses. This woman was part of a protest in Monrovia.
They have no care. Sometimes they play fun out of us. They always laughing at us, beating up on the job site. You know, abusing our parents, abusing ourselves. Always start, if you are doing a job and you make little mistake, a Chinese man will come and kick you.
Chinese officials reject these accusations. They also say that unlike Western investors, Chinese investors do not meddle in internal politics. In rural Senegal, the Chinese owner of a sesame seed plant, Reaping Ouyang, defends his work.
It is not about exploiting the country and taking its money. No, on the contrary, we come to help the country and the rural areas so that they can work and have their own earnings.
Most commodity prices have risen sharply since the turn of the new century, coinciding with growing Chinese needs. Economists say the commodity price boom could continue over the next 10 years or so, while China's enormous commodity appetite will last much longer, and its effects will only deepen. Nico Colombant, VOA News, Washington.